Beast Quest is an action-adventure RPG game based on the novels of the same name. Tom is a valiant young boy who likes to go on adventures. One day, while he is wildly swinging his sword in the woods, a wizard shows up and bestows a quest for him to relieve mystical beasts from their enchantment by an evil wizard. Tom must conjure up all of his strength and courage to save these beasts and take down the forces of evil to save the kingdom of Avantia from possible destruction.
Will you risk your life for the Beast Quest?
I will. Whatever it takes.
As Tom, you run around through towns, forests, snowy mountaintops, and caves. With a sword and shield, Tom fights a variety of enemies, such as spiders, bandits, giant wolves, and skeletons. The denizens of the land give Tom small missions like defeating monsters for them, collecting flowers, and handing out cookies to the other people in their town. Completing quests and defeating your foes will net you money and experience points. Use money to buy different items to help you in battle, and spend your experience points to level up innate abilities like health or defense, or gain new ones like a variety of tiered elemental attacks. Running into an enemy initiates combat, which puts you on a fixed circle track around your enemies. You can run around your enemies to dodge attacks or to get into a better position to attack an enemy that's far away from you. When you are not moving around the fixed circle and are standing still to confront an enemy, you can attack by either doing a quick or strong attack. Both of these can be charged as well. You can also block and weave to dodge attacks, and if you time a dodge correctly, you can counterattack. It's actually a pretty cool combat system. It's simple and it works, but that's probably the most praise this game will ever get from me. This game is a broken mess. This game is definitely aimed towards children since it's based on the books, so I wasn't going into it expecting anything incredibly spectacular or anything, but it has no excuse being as buggy as it is. Button prompts don't even work at all. When you go to open a chest or talk to people, you have to push a button, but it just doesn't work. I would have to run up to people in chests and just spam the button until it worked. Considering that doing these things is a large part of the game, it gets super tedious and annoying when you can't do something you need to do. There are a bunch of graphical glitches like button prompts just staying up on the screen for no reason after you have done them, environments not loading in, floating rocks, clipping, people loading out during cutscenes, and the battle UI staying on screen after you are done with a battle. A lot of this is pretty typical for lower budget games aimed toward kids, but it gets distracting after a while. Controlling Tom isn't fun at all. He has this weird stiffness to him that weighs him down. The jumping is super janky because when you jump, the animation sort of locks on a frame and you sort of glide until you hit something. The hitboxes also seem off, so you are going to be falling off a lot of edges and not sticking your landings. This, along with the climbing, seems to be off. Something doesn't register correctly when you try to reach for an edge to climb on, and a lot of the time you would just not grab the ledge. There's no need to rush, and you are never put in a situation where it actually matters, but it's just cumbersome. Later on in the story, you unlock the ability to glide, which you will never use except the one time you need to right after you get it, or if you're doing post-game stuff which you really don't need to at all because you'll already be super strong or maxed out. The game doesn't do a good job on telling you how to actually use glide. You have to jump and then hold a button, but I thought it didn't work for a while because I was doing just that. Turns out you can't use glide when you are running. You have to stop running and either stand still or do your normal jogging before you can jump and glide. I thought that was super weird since you are going to be running all around anyways. These bad controls are not helped by the terrible camera. The camera angle the game sits at is way too close. You can barely look up or anywhere you want to. You get used to it, but it's very noticeable at climbing spots where you can't get a grasp on how to traverse some areas. Speaking of climbing spots, there are these vine structures around the map that you have to climb up onto and across to progress. The climbing spots are near invisible, especially once you reach your first one. I thought I was going the wrong way because I didn't see it at all. They all blend in with the environment. The sound and music is all pretty superficial. The music is simple and redundant, and sounds like the noise it makes activating button QTEs are archaic simplistic noises. The ending is pretty bad, with it having an unsatisfying conclusion. There is no epic battle, it just sort of ends with a hint of a sequel and that's it. It could be because the entire game is so lackluster that there was no way to distinguish the end from any other part of the game. The combat system was the only thing that I actually liked from this game, but even though it may seem pretty hard at first, if you level up effectively and use your abilities efficiently, you can take enemies out swiftly without them getting a chance to touch you. So even though the combat is the only thing that is interesting, the way that you can so easily break it results in it being this game's saving grace pretty worthless. Unless you are playing on the hardest difficulty, you can almost guarantee you will reach a point where you will be one-shotting everything without having to use any sort of buff, debuff, summon, or magic. There was a glitch in the game where you couldn't achieve the achievement of completing all side quests, but they fixed it, so you don't have to complete all the side quests. The trophy popped up for me with less than half of the side quests done. One side quest tied to an achievement just simply stated the wrong thing. You have to collect drops from enemies for this wannabe wizard, and the last quest he gives you, he tells you the wrong ingredients. So you are constantly farming these enemies and will never get what you need. You need to get completely different items.
You are a knight, aren't you?
Yeah. Sir Tom, at your
Yes,
service.
Beast Quest is a game aimed towards first-time RPGers, but it is so unpleasant to play. You're not gaining anything playing through this. While the game works for the most part and has a setup qualified to be a decent action role-playing adventure, it fails incredibly with all of its elements being broken and unpolished.
The dragon will be easy to find. It's huge. And it's
I give Beast Quest a 2 out of 10.
Afraid.
You should be. Good luck, Sir Tom. You'll need it.
Well, we'd better check it out.